Hello, and thank you for joining me today. Well, this is the Monday, January 24th edition of our video devotionals. We appreciate you being with us today. Hope your Monday's going well. We call this Marvelous Monday. Hope your weekend was well. Sunday, we had a good attendance, considering the fact that we were kind of recovering from winter weather with the snow that we had. I think it fell on Friday evening late, and then of course temperatures staying near freezing, and then yesterday of course we had melting. But point is, on Saturday the concern was black ice. You're familiar with that, with snow melts onto the highways and sidewalks and everything, and it's kind of a clear ice, and therefore what you see sometimes is you think it's the road or maybe it's wet, but it's ice, black ice. That can be very treacherous. So point is that that seemed to not be that big an issue for most yesterday. Good attendance. Even had visitors that have returned from 3 or 4 weeks ago were there yesterday. Of course, our regular folks, and we had some not able to be there, of course. And there's still a lot of sickness. But all being said, it was a good Sunday, both morning and evening. And hopefully everything's going well for you. Let's make this a great week, because actually this is the last full week of January. And next week at this time will be the very end of the month, January 31st. So we want to make it a good week, okay? So I want to jump into things here today, because I'm going to read a little bit more scriptures than normal and give you something today that'll help us. Of course, our theme is reading through the Bible in 1 year's time. And this is a passage we're going to look at today. So today we're going to be in Exodus chapter 30. We're going to actually read verses 1 through 10. Then two other references we're going to kind of tie into it. Revelation, 5:8, and 1 Thessalonians 5:17. So if you'll be there at Exodus 30, we'll start in verse 1 and read down to verse 10. Again, thank you for all who watch the videos. We do appreciate you very much. And hopefully we can continue to be a blessing as you are to us, okay? All right, so Exodus 30 verse 1 says this: "And thou shalt make an altar to burn incense upon. Of shittim wood shalt thou make it. A cubit shall be the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof. 4 square shall it be, and 2 cubits shall be the height thereof. The horns thereof shall be of the same." Let's just stop a minute. A cubit is basically 18 inches. And so when you're talking about it being square, 18 inches, so 1.5 feet, 18 inches by 18.5, 2 foot high with these horns on it, with this little edge around it. You kind of can if you can picture a nightstand, that's about the size that we're talking about here. It says, "And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, the top thereof and the sides thereof round about, and the horns thereof thou shalt make unto it a crown of gold round about. And 2 golden rings shalt thou make to it under the crown of it, by the 2 corners thereof, upon the 2 sides of it shalt thou make it, for they shall be for places for the staves to bear it withal. And thou shalt make the staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold. And thou shalt put it before the veil that is by the ark of the testimony, before the mercy seat that is over the testimony, where I will meet with thee. And Aaron shall burn thereon sweet incense every morning when he dresseth the lamps. He shall burn incense upon it. And when Aaron lighteth the lamps at even, he shall burn incense upon it, a perpetual incense before the Lord throughout your generations. You shall offer no strange incense thereon, nor burnt sacrifice, nor meat offering, neither shall ye pour drink offering thereon." Here's our last verse. "And Aaron shall make an atonement upon the horns of it once in a year, with the blood of the sin offering of atonements. Once in the year shall he make atonement upon it throughout your generations. It is most holy unto the Lord." So here we're talking about the altar of incense. Now, without going into all the details, and of course when I look at this, just what I take away from it, and all the other things that were items there in that tabernacle area, and all the things related to it, very precise. God knew what he wanted. Moses didn't come up with the ideas. God didn't say make an altar of incense and you can figure it out. No, its dimensions were from God. Everything about it's from God, even down to this thing has one purpose. That's to burn incense. In fact, no strange incense. It's not for offerings. It's not for any of that. It's for incense. And then in the morning and in the evening, you're to burn this incense. So I'm saying that because when you look at this, you're saying, wow, God is very precise about it. And what would this typify here? Well, first of all, think about this particular item here. If you know anything about the tabernacle, we won't summarize it. But the most holy place was where the Ark of the Covenant was, behind a veiled area. And the closest item seems to be, by the description, is this altar of incense. So if you're talking about what particular item and its purpose is closest to the Holy of Holies, that area where the mercy seat is, where the high priest himself only could go in once a year and offer blood there on the mercy seat. And of course, he also took a censer of incense with him in there. But the point is, what item and what would that say to us? Well, let me show you a couple other scriptures and we'll tie this into this. Revelation 5:8 says this, "And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of saints." The odors there, another word for that would be incense. The incense, just like we're reading here about the altar of incense. It was to burn sweet incense. That's the exact language there, sweet incense. And when you look over here in Revelation where it talks about these golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of saints, that tells you then that prayer is a pretty important thing, and God likens it unto this incense that came up. Also think about it as I read this verse. 1 Thessalonians 5:17 says, "Pray without ceasing." So we know in this altar of incense, at morning and at evening, this incense was to be going up every day. And when the priest would go in, when Aaron, it says, lights the lamps at even or in the morning, then also he takes care of that incense on the altar of incense. So I'm saying that it was continual. It is the item that was closest to the Holy of Holies. The high priest didn't go in there every day; he only went in there once a year. And in this particular item here, the Bible says that an atonement was made upon the horns of it to take the blood of the sin offering and put that once a year on this altar of incense. So what I'm saying is this. One is, God does want us to pray continually. If there's anything that probably reveals our holy faith is the fact that we would pray. When a person doesn't pray, you could say, well, there's times I can't simply because of something I'm doing where I can't pray and do something else at the same time. Perhaps I understand that. But the attitude is a constant mode, or not so much the method of prayer. In other words, you could have a place that you go pray. Some people go out on a trail out in the woods. That they come to church. I've got a place here. I'm looking straight ahead. There's a couple of chairs in front of me, upholstered chairs. And oftentimes I'll bow down there and I'll pray right there. And sometimes I've prayed in the auditorium there around the altar. And of course I can walk around and be in a method of prayer, a mode of prayer, and praying, driving down the highway, anytime and any place. I get that. But the idea though is to really never break that. And it's one of the most difficult things to do, I think, because one, Satan might say, now, do you think God really meant all the time? Well, God did say pray without ceasing. I do know this altar of incense, it seems to typify prayer, and it should be a continual thing. Now, obviously, you're sleeping, you're not praying. I understand that. But, how about if you wake up and one of the first things you do is you pray? It's something that you do so much, it's like anything you do on a regular basis. There's things we all do, and prayer should be that. And is there a time that we should not pray? Well, the Bible does say to pray without ceasing. And then secondly, this sweet incense. What do you think God thinks of our prayers? It sounds like to me they're precious to Him. Just like when you get up, if someone's cooking bacon, I hate to make this illustration, but you smell, you go, man, that smells good. Or, if you go back home for the holidays and your mom or somebody's cooking bacon, you say, I remember that as a kid, man, I love that smell, or you love whatever. Or if someone's cooking a cake, think about a sweet smell. And you go, man, I just love that, and just the aroma of it. You're not eating it, but the smell of it just says, man, that's awesome. I personally don't drink coffee, but I like the smell of it. When I worked at Winn-Dixie as a kid, first job part-time as I was going to high school, we had an area there, an aisle in the store where you could grind up coffee beans. And I never liked coffee. I drunk a little bit, but that's just not my thing. But the smell of that was pretty awesome, especially the ones that had like vanilla or something on it. And so my point is this. What do you think God thinks about our prayers? I think they're sweet to Him. I think they're precious to Him. I think He's desirous of them. And so I think we should think about that as we think about this altar of incense. Well, we went longer today than normal. It's been a while, but I think it was worth it. So let's pray, and let's send up a sweet incense to God, okay? Well, we'll see you tomorrow, and I hope you have a great Monday. Thank you.